All right, we're back at the place where we got the 70 white coupe. Now we're gonna pick up the next car I made a deal on. This one's pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about it. 1970 Fastback Mustang. It is a 351 car also, but it's a bit of a basket case. So I'm gonna dig it out and see what we're all missing. I really, tell you the truth, haven't seen the whole car. Really, all I've ever seen is the taillights and kind of peeked at the sides a little bit. So what you see will be what I'm seeing for the first time. So it's kind of exciting. Hate to use the term barn find, but I think this is what people are talking about when they talk about a barn find. So we'll open up the door and I'll show you what we got. Brought Colonel Mustard this time. And grab the tripod. Get you guys set up. I think that's gonna be the best way to do it. Probably get you set up here pretty close, but. All right, here's the garage. I have to move this back a little bit. Taillights, so it'll be either really good or really bad. You guys have probably all heard David Freiberger's phrase, don't get them perfect, just get them running. This car is a perfect example of what I think David meant by that phrase. Previous owner had big plans to restore this car for his wife. So he pulled the front clip and pulled the engine out. And while he was working on restoring those and making them perfect and collecting parts, the car got shoved into the garage and turned into a storage shelf. So make sure you stick around to the end. I'll show you what all the pieces were, what I think his plans were for the car, and what my plans are to get it going again and back on the road so it can be enjoyed. It'll be cool, it'll be unique, but it won't be perfect. So check this shit out. Tied to the tree, tied to the tree, tied to the car. Need to get better at slowing down and explaining what's going on. I use a snatch block to tie it to this tree because I couldn't get the trailer backed up right against the car to jerk it out of there. Yippee!
Hand bumpers and sanders, one carburetor, I guess.
A little bit of rust. There's quite a few parts and totes in the garage next to the car. The new bumper hanging on the wall, and there was a tote of instrument cluster stuff, and actually a tote to another car that I bought from Connie. I got a 67 Fairlane, so found a tote of parts for it, which is great because wiring harness is kind of screwed up in that, and there was a spare one for it. So nice surprise. Need to get the wheels taken off this car and inspect what's going on. It's really tight. I don't know if he replaced the brakes and they're dragging because they're brand new or what's going on, but two of us could barely move this thing backwards. So that's why we had to winch it out of the garage and find different places to hook the snatch block to pull it around so we could finally get it lined up with the trailer and jerk it the rest of the way on. So This was a very fun challenge to get out of there in that tight alley with the crew cab dually and a 24-foot trailer. But the snatch block made it possible, made it actually pretty easy. Other than, this is probably the funnest recovery I've done, other than when my brother Dustin and I went down to Kansas City and pulled a 58 Buick out of a fallen down garage in the middle of Kansas City in the middle of a snowstorm. I'm very happy with the condition of this car. As I'm walking around it, you can see the door dings on the driver's door, and there's a little bit of rust on the front bottom corner of the passenger door, but floor pans are excellent, and under the hood's excellent. It's really in pretty good shape. So the next weekend after the football game, I went back over there and grabbed the engine and the rest of the parts that were in the main garage. The engine's, I don't know anything about it, what kind of running condition it was in, but there was a re-ring kit next to it, next to the engine stand, so I'm assuming it was smoking and using oil based on that. All of the whole front clip was in the attic of this shop, so every time I'd go up there to grab a piece of the front clip, I'd look around and see another part to go with it. So it took quite a few hours to get everything loaded up on the trailer. There's stuff scattered along the whole upstairs and all along the bottom floor of this shop too. So you see there's headers up there on the shelf, the hood there leaning right in front of the camera. There's a drive shaft in the middle of the floor there. Instrument cluster. Oh, there was stuff scattered everywhere. I'm sure I left a few pieces behind, and hopefully when Connie comes across them, she gets in touch with me and I can go grab them. Over in this shed, the transmission and torque converter were in there, along with some blasting media for a sandblaster I bought from her. So got all that loaded up and was on my way home with the second load. Got a few cabinets, helped me organize my garage, some CarQuest and Napa wiring and tune-up center cabinets that be good for spray paint and wiring goods and some of my lesser used tools. All right, guys, we're several days later, and I guess it's a week and a half later. I've got both Mustangs in the shop. I thought I'd give you a walk around of what all we ended up with and what the plan is for everything. So I'll get you flipped around here and show you what we got. Here it is, Mr. Green, the 1970 Fastback Mustang basket case. Spent the last month and a half digging this thing out of a couple sheds in the middle of town. So the main car and a few pieces were in a little shed next to the house. Front clip was in the attic of one building. The engine was in the main floor of that building. Transmission was in another shed. So I think I've gathered everything except for some rocker panel trim that hopefully I can go back and grab. So there's quite a few new parts in the attic of the big shed. So I think the guy had big plans since he had the engine out, the front clip off, get the whole thing painted, new passenger side door, and rebuild the engine and get it back going. So hopefully I can finish what he started. Probably won't be as good as what he originally had planned. I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to stick with this original paint, clean it up, and it is what it is. So I'll kind of walk around here and show you what I have to work with. So set of hooker headers, but they're for the 2-barrel heads that were in this car, and I think I'm going to go a different route. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Window felts, AC condenser, like a brand new spare tire. I doubt that's the original one. It's nice and soft. New trunk mat. See, I think everything to make this into a Mach 1 car is here. So Mach 1 lettering, Mach 1 hood scoop, instrument cluster, tack. There's a new master cylinder, gasket kit, new hoses, another gasket kit, Mach 1 pattern front bucket seat covers, new dash pad, new door skin. They're both for the passenger side. So I don't know if you saw that when we walked by, but it's got a rust spot here in the corner, which I don't know, I'm not that worried about. Maybe we could cut that patch out of that door skin and patch it in there and get paint that kind of matches, or just not worry about it. Engine bay, it looks like it's got new power steering equipment there. Manual brakes. It was an AC car though. It's got the green steel wheels. Interior is pretty decent. It's all here. Carpet use cleaned up. Oh, it's got the factory radio, factory caps. Oh, you saw the dash pad that's up there, so we'll put that in. Put those seat covers in. The headliner's in really good shape. I don't think there's any marks in it. New stainless. So yeah, Mr. Green would be a pretty cool car. But as far as the engine and the drivetrain go, I think the right plan is to take the engine out of this M code coupe with the 4-barrel 351. This one runs and drives. I think I'll just spend some time tuning this thing up, since I know it will run and drive, rather than spend money and time on that other 351. Take this out, stick it in here, and get it on the road. But you tell me what you think.